Alright, hello. We are pugging a 18 Azure Vault. I've been noticing a lot of people talking about these affixes and just the affix combos in general that have been happening this expansion. Bursting Explosive is not very friendly, so I just want to talk through how I do it in a pug. And the number one, or the few like top tips I have for dealing with these affixes this week is going to be dealing with explosives with mouse overcasting. So like right now I'm literally just mouse overcasting Frost Shock on every explosive that I see. And then I'm being proactive about bursting. So like I already have a plan in place by the time that bursting comes out. So I already knew I was gonna press Spirit Link, and I already knew I was gonna dispel somebody every time. So every time bursting is happening, I'm dispelling someone. So like right now, I have my dispel back up. So like just as an example, this happens, I already am planning to dispel somebody. The whole idea of making bursting easier is reducing the amount of players that you have to actively worry about during bursting. That's how you're going to make the affix so much easier to deal with. And that's by doing things like using defensives on yourself so you don't have to worry about healing yourself during bursting, using things like externals on other players depending on what healer you're playing so you don't have to worry about them, and then using things like consumables is another thing you can rotate through. So it's like I have a health pot for this bursting coming up, so I'm just not going to worry about myself. I'm going to dispel, say, the Druid, so I dispel the Druid, and now I don't have to worry about myself because I know I can health pot. So right here I get even low at all. I didn't even need to health pot, but just as an example. And then I'm only having to actually heal 3 players, the tank, the Demon Hunter, and the Rogue, because I'm dispelling the Druid and I'm health potting myself. And then like this next one, I'm just coming up with another plan of how I'm going to deal with it. So again, we're dealing with explosives, but while we're dealing with explosives, we're planning on how we're going to deal and be proactive with the bursting stacks. So I'm going to use a defensive for myself. I'm going to use a healing cooldown through Healing Tide Totem. So right here, we Healing Tide as the bursting starts going out. We defensive ourself, and then we can dispel, say, the Druid. Obviously, that dispel was like super inefficient and late, but the whole idea remains the same. It's all about just staying proactive with it. And then like here, we're dealing with explosives, so we're targeting stuff. We're stunning to help because whenever you stun, if the mobs are crowd controlled, they cannot spawn explosive while they're stunned. So that's actually a huge thing that you can use to deal with explosives. And then here we have a little bit of downtime, so I'm just making sure all my buffs are up. And I'm planning again, what am I going to do to deal with this next upcoming bursting? I have Ascendance up, so we can use that, because we're not going to really need it until the boss. So bursting starts going out, I press Ascendance, I dispel the Druid, and now I only have to really worry about healing the other players besides myself and the Druid. I almost never have to worry about healing myself because I know I can rely on things like consumables and defensives and stuff like that. And here we're just dispelling on cooldown because this debuff is not fun to deal with. Killing explosives. Killing explosives. And for explosives, I think I mentioned it at the start, but I just use mouse overcasting. I just have it enabled in the in-game settings. You can also use macros for it. If you remind me, I can like post an actual macro down in the description. And then you can just mouse over, like, for, you know, every healer is going to have some way of dealing with it the most efficient way possible, which is just an instant cast ability. So like for Shaman, we're using Frost Shock, so I just mouse over the unit frame of, or the nameplate of the explosive, and then I just press my Frost Shock hotkey, and it just kills it, and I don't have to target it or do anything fancy. And then I believe these saplings do not burst. They do not. So this part's really easy to deal with. We really don't have to like worry about using too much. We're mostly just doing damage here and then dealing with explosives as they come up. But those are definitely the two main things, is have an efficient way of dealing with explosives, so know what your class can do to deal with them, because in most cases, healers and... Yeah, I would just say healers should be getting a majority of the explosives. Even on something like a bursting week, you can still be the one who's, like, primarily getting the explosives. If you are, again, like, being proactive with dealing with bursting, you can then use that energy on getting rid of explosives rather than panicking at the last second and trying to deal with bursting. It's all about just being proactive and reducing the amount of players that you have to worry about. So you use stuff that allows you to do that. Just gonna get in a slightly better position here. And then on this boss, it's basically heal the tank during the infused strike. So right here, the tank has infused strikes, so I'm focusing on healing him. And then we're going to make sure we're in a correct spot. We're going to kind of watch where everyone else is positioning.
5, 4, 3.
So we will get these ones probably right here. Depends where the tank ends up going. Yeah, we'll get these two right here. Kind of awkward, but we'll press our defensive here just to be proactive with it. Then we're going to walk in. We didn't miss any trees, so I'm just going to make sure I full heal everybody. Killing explosives. And here we're just being proactive by planning what we're doing if things go wrong. So the way that things go wrong is if the tank can't get adds for some reason, like if you can't aggro them, an explosive goes off at a wrong time that we don't end up clearing, or... oh, we need to clear this. Okay. Or one of the trees don't get cleared. One or more of the trees don't get cleared. So here again, I'm trying to position ahead of time of where I can go. Kind of all over the place, so I'm going to get these ones right here. And then I just go, did we miss any trees? No, we did not, so we're probably fine. We don't need to use anything. We're just going to heal everybody up. The fight's almost already gone, like done anyways, since it's fortified, so I'm just going to use one of my healing cooldowns at this point, because we don't need to like sit here on a healing cooldown the entire time. Since at most we get one more set of trees, but we're probably going to kill the boss way before then. But we just keep the tank alive during this infused strike, and the boss is dead. Easy peasy.
There is no sign of the sundered flame here. Come this way. The location of my vault was chosen to harness.
I don't know if we're doing the big pull here. We might be. It looks like we are. I think he's going to activate it. Maybe not. Yeah, it looks like we are. Okay. So we're just going to stun all these as they group up. We're killing explosives, and again, we're being proactive. So I'm going to start putting Riptides out. I'm going to put down a Healing Rain. We're going to make sure that they clear this stuff. I'm going to press my defensive. We did let an explosive go off, but that's okay. It's recoverable. Going to use Healing Tide. Going to get rid of these explosives. And as bursting starts going off, we have a health pot up for ourselves, so I do not need to worry about myself whatsoever. And then we can also drop that Spirit Link just a tiny bit too late. What we need to do is stun the Crystal Furies when they do the Piercing Shards. Otherwise that happens where they just sweep everybody all at once and pretty much just instant kill everything. Might be able to keep this alive, but it's looking pretty rough. We are going to do our best though. Drop Earth Elemental. I didn't want to drop Earth Elemental any sooner than I did because it will turn the Crystal Furies like very randomly and their Piercing Shards will just fly all over the place. I think we can keep this alive though. Our Earth Elemental's tanking stuff. The Piercing Shards are going towards us. Please don't aim those at me, Mr. Demon Hunter. Oh, I'm so dead. There's no shot I live this health pot. I wonder if I can outrange all of this stuff. I don't think I can. Oh my god. Oh my god, I outranged it. No shot. Can we keep it going? That is the question. If they do like one more Piercing Shards, I'm just super dead though. We stun. Can I stun in time? Nope. It's okay. It's almost dead. We literally just need to kill it, please. This is insane that I'm living this long. I'm gonna die right here. Oh my god. Can I outrange this again? I don't think I can in time. There's no way this is happening. I'm outranging it every time. They both died. Everybody got here back in time. There's no way we just did that. That was insane. I'm so glad I recorded that. That was wild. That was quite the recovery. That was not being proactive at all. That was just me praying and doing the best I could to just kite as a rested shaman. Reset our debuff here.
You have discovered one
That was
of my
wild.
books of translocation. Since the majority of the vault's caretakers are flightless, I incorporated a means of safe travel via these tomes.
Just gonna ask if they want less since we have it back up. Refresh our buffs here. Get rid of explosive. I'm gonna wait till we do like a double pull or something for less, if we even end up doing that. Just gonna Ascendance here to stay ahead of bursting, since we're chain pulling.
Interrupt.
And I kind of just, I have to press Lust here, otherwise we're not gonna have an extra use of it at the end of the dungeon, so I'm just gonna press it. If we press it on cooldown in this dungeon, we get it, we get like 3 more uses or something at it. We get like a crazy amount of total uses. Goal is killing explosives here. Sometimes I'm planning on killing them, and then someone else gets them before me, like, because I'm finishing a cast or something, but that's fine. These pulls are all pretty small and generous, so we can just focus on doing damage primarily, and then dealing with explosives. Dealing with explosives. Throw a stun down just to help with the piercing shards. It's kind of awkward with the timing of Cap Totem, but you can still usually land it if you time it right. And then here I'm just like thinking about the potential threats. So like here we're going to get 3 bursting stacks. So I'm just going to dispel 1 player. And then just defensive because why not? And now there's not very many people to worry about and we're not all half HP. And then the other thing is just like those packs weren't very dangerous. The only thing that was dangerous was like the piercing shards from the Crystal Furies. So all I'm doing is just like thinking in my head, okay, if the tank randomly gets hit, like if we fail to interrupt one of the Crystal Furies and the tank gets hit by like 2 of the dots, then I'm just going to throw down like a Spirit Link, or I'm going to press Ascendance, or, you know, I just have something in my head already planned of if something goes wrong, then I'm going to do this. I just already have what button I'm going to press in my mind. I'm not waiting until the problem happens and then going, oh shoot, this is happening, what do I do? What do I have available? I press this now, and then it's too late. I just think about it ahead of time. So like right now, what do I have available? I have literally everything. So if something goes wrong, I'm just going to press Ascendance. But to deal with these bursting stacks, I'm going to press Spirit Link. And I'm just going to already have something in place to deal with it. I'm just thinking one step ahead. Need the patrol. And then also in Pugs, one of the biggest things that I do, and I didn't mention this on the previous Rune Sealkeeper pack, but I always want to be the one making sure that Icy Bindings gets interrupted. Even if someone else is like consistently getting it, or they say they'll get it or anything like that, if I'm in a complete Pug group and we're not in voice or anything like that, I will always just make sure that I'm the one getting it. Because it's not worth having it go off or having a mistake happen. If someone messes it up, so I just make myself the one who's liable for it, or, you know. If it goes off, it's completely my fault and I have nobody else to blame. I can't let the ability go off and then just be like, oh, well, this guy said he would get it. You're in a Pug group, so it's not that you don't have to, like, not trust anybody, it's just that you want to try to shoulder as many of the responsibilities as you can without, you know, obviously messing them up. So if you don't think you can reliably interrupt it, then obviously don't do it. But that's part of pugging, is making yourself as responsible for as many things as you possibly can.
Interrupt.
And I just have it set up on Bigwigs. I went through this on my Bigwigs guide for this dungeon. Where we just set up it to literally say interrupt every time it goes off, so I don't even have to think about it. I just put it as my focus target, and when I hear the bigwig say interrupt, I just press my focus kick. So like right there, boom, I just press focus kick. Even though it already died and everything, I don't need to think about it, I don't need to look at a cast bar, I just hear that and I press the button, and it interrupts it every time. So. Oh my gosh, that thing is absolutely owning this guy. What item level is our Paladin here? 402, that's not too bad. He is using a whetstone though, so that's probably why. He's definitely doing a lot of damage though, so that's good.
Interrupt.
And see there, I didn't have it focus targeted, so if that cast would have went off, that would have been my fault for not focusing it ahead of time. I just want to make sure we focus it as we're going into the pack or before.
The elements answer to me.
Here we dispel the Druid. Spirit Link the tank. Killing explosives. We have so much percent too. It looks like we're gonna do the skip. Yeah, we're definitely doing the skip. Nice. So we're making really good time on this dungeon. This is like almost a 2 chest, because we're gonna just be able to go from boss to boss to boss.
Interrupt.
Oh no. Again, I didn't have it focus targeted, so that's my fault. It's just something that I'm spacing out on because I'm doing commentary over the video. It just makes it hard for me to focus on specific things sometimes because I'm thinking about other things at the same time.
Marked by lightning.
Spell myself and drink real quick. Should be good to go.
No, no, no! Mine! It is all mine! Me! Take care of them! Slash you!
Main thing here is keep the tank nice and healthy for those frontals, because they hurt very bad, especially on Prop Paladin. Kill explosives, and then we can worry about doing damage.
2, 1.
And here we're just planning a healing CD for every intermission phase, so... And we can overlap some CDs, like here I'm using Ancestral Guidance and I'm using Healing Tide Totem. And that's totally fine, because it's not tyrannical, so we don't need, like, to do, like, 3 or 4 ad phases. We're just going to be able to do, like, 2, and then probably be done. Then drop Healing Rain to help heal everybody up. And ideally we save Ascendance for the next intermission. Just gonna get everybody caught up here. And I will reset my debuff. Interrupt this. Healing Rain around it. Keep Riptide up on people.
Five, 4, 3, 2.
And then we're gonna have the intermission start here. Probably just Lust here, honestly. So then we'll get one more Lust if we end up like playing poorly for the last boss. And then I'll also just Ascendance here, because the boss is gonna die pretty shortly after this, and there's gonna be like no healing requirement after we get through this intermission. So keeping people as healthy as possible is really important, even if we're overhealing a lot in this low of a key, because if people get hit by the swirlies, they can actually still live, unlike a higher, like 20 or higher key, where people will actually get one-shot by the swirlies. Can't survive that, though. No, not like this. That's my fault. I just cleared way too late.
I do not blame her. I should have thought of her before I left. This door. I sense a breach behind it.
The skip is actually really cool.
Must be this way.
Just get to walk along this ledge and then everybody can safely jump down. Oh my gosh, I almost did not jump on the right spot. Jump right here. Heal ourselves, put down a healing rain and stuff just to heal everybody up real quick. And we just jump down again. I probably shouldn't have goblin jumped, but oh well. I'm just gonna Spirit Link to get everybody healthy again, just so we don't randomly get one shot right out the bat. That'd be very unfortunate. Druid almost fell off the edge. So Shaman is so noisy with the Earth Living weapon now. I don't know what they did about it, but I don't know if it always made that noise or not. I don't remember it doing that. Ever since like 10.0.5 came out, it's been doing that though. Alright, and that's all our percent. So now it's just 2 bosses and we're all done. Spell the Druid before we go over. Oh, it actually makes you immune to the bursting stacks when you're a book, so that's interesting. Just getting a little bit of mana as we start the fight, just in case it ends up taking a little too long. I'm gonna just use Ancestral Guidance early here. And then I don't have Goblin Jump because I used it to get down. So I'm just going to kind of Ghost Wolf across.
5,
Clear with the Druid.
3, 2, 1.
Go in here, we downpour.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Riptide on everybody. Then we just time our healing wave with Primordial Wave right as that explosion goes off. It's more important to heal through the frost bombs though, because that's what's like actually deadly. You're not going to really die to the damage from the absolute zero. If anything, the absolute zero just will make you lower HP going into the next frost bomb. This is what you need to worry about. And then here, like, the boss is already half HP, so I'm just going to be like, okay, I'm just going to start rotating through stuff, so we're just going to Ascendance as it goes off. Because ideally, we're just going through all of our cooldowns by the time that the boss dies. That's usually how a boss fight works, is you want to just use up all, if not most, of your resources by the time that the boss is dead. Because if you do that, you're going to have them back up by the time you get to the next important part in the dungeon. Now we can Goblin Jump out of that,
5,
run over here,
3,
Healing Rain,
2, 1.
and again, same thing. Just put Riptide on everybody, Primordial Wave, Nature Swiftness with the Healing Rain, or Healing Wave. And then here it's like, okay, boss is literally dead, so we Healing Tide Totem, and then the boss is dead, and we don't have to really do anything else. We get away from this guy real quick. That's it. So just being proactive, planning each ability slightly ahead of when we actually use it.
We are too late.
I think that's one of the biggest things that healers need to focus on when they want to improve, is planning ahead and just trying to think one step ahead of what's actually going on in front of you. Because panicking is what causes healers to make mistakes. And not having like a consistent plan of what can actually keep you alive and stuff. It's kind of the only way you die in World of Warcraft, is not having a consistent strategy to deal with whatever you're trying to survive. And then if we wipe to this, we have that lust come back up and we'll like still have time, so wasn't like the most ideal uses of our lust. There's probably better ways of dealing with it, but it will still work out. Like, it'll end up being better if we do end up wiping. And here we're going to help kill the crystals. We can Stormkeeper to help kill some of them as well. Here we go. Healing everybody up. I should have dispelled tank. I don't know why I dispelled the Demon Hunter. I'm too used to playing with Prot Warriors in this dungeon, so they just spell Reflect. Like almost all of them, or every other one. The explosive. Focused on the crystals. Can use Ancestral Guidance here just so that I can like solely focus on doing damage and not have to worry about healing anybody. Because my damage on the crystals will just heal everyone for a decent amount. And here we're just keeping an eye on people's HP. I'm going to get ready to dispel this right away and then heal them up. And then also on this fight, doing as much damage as you possibly can is really helpful. Like, the more damage you can do as a healer on this fight, the easier this fight's going to be. Because the only time this fight gets hard is when it starts taking too long. Because that's when you get more and more of these orbs flying around the room and being annoying and harassing you and stuff, so...
Dispel.
The faster the boss dies, the less orbs you have to deal with. Like right here, we're killing the boss before any of the orbs actually become like a big problem. Okay, you can stop chasing me now. Thank you. And that's it. So, almost two-chested it. That was pretty clean. Oh, excuse me. And, yeah, that is an idea of how to help deal with bursting and explosive combined. It's a really hard affix, so don't be too hard on yourself. You also, like I mentioned, you don't have to shoulder everything yourself. You can ask for help, you can expect help, but the easiest way to like not get frustrated about it, I feel like, is to try to do as much as you can and really just be self-critical and just try to make sure that you're doing everything you possibly can to actually, you know, essentially like carry the group in a way, in terms of the affixes. So it is possible, it is doable. It just takes practice and it takes patience, so just keep at it and you'll be able to do it.
Leave me.